Hello everybody, this is for you Freddy Krueger repertoire fans and Rousseau gambit fans in particular. I found a new line and it's kind of interesting. So we'll start by quickly going through a 5-minute blitz game that I had earlier on today in the Rousseau. So the Italian game, the Rousseau gambit, they'll very often accept the gambit. We advance with tempo and hit the knight. This is the entire point, similar to the Vienna gambit but with the black pieces. If the queen pins the pawn, you break the pin in likewise fashion. The knight now has to retreat. Now, there's a few ways to go from here. The move that I have always played is knight to f6. Here, they bring out their knight, and now I go in with my knight to d4. This is actually the best move. We're hitting the queen. We're also threatening the fork on c2, and the queen can't come here because of our pawn. So the queen is forced now back to d1. Anything else is pretty much just losing. And here we have, this is where the new line comes in that I only found with engine analysis. Here I play pawn to c6. This is very solid. This seems to make a lot of sense. We'd like to play d5 with tempo on the bishop, kicking the bishop back and gaining a good center. We would then recapture the pawn. We then come in with an idea of an attack against the castle king, right? Makes perfect sense. Bishop pre-retreats, and I push d5 anyway. Now this bishop is just basically quarantined in this corner of the board, and it's not going to be a danger to anyone. They bring out their knight. I recapture the pawn with the knight. This is a common move. They castle, I prepare my stuff, they miss the checkmate threat and get checkmated. Okay, fair enough. Now, there's an improvement on this, and it's dangerous, and it's edgy, and it's exciting. Let me show you. So, this is the new line. The Italian game, the Rousseau gambit, accepted, push. Queen blocks, queen breaks, knight has to retreat. We play knight to f6. They bring out their knight, very natural move, right? We go in and hit the queen. Queen retreats back to d1. Now, instead of this slow and very natural looking c6, d5, guess what we do? You play d5 anyway, sacrificing apparently a pawn. But it is minus 2.4 for black. And d5 here by half a pawn is the best move ahead of the slower c6. Right, why? This is the question. Everyone wants to know. Now, bishop takes d5 is white's best move here, but it is not the most common by a long chalk. So I've got this set to 1800 plus on Lichess. Bishop takes is played 19% of the time. Bishop b3 retreat is played 23% of the time. The most common move by a way is for the knight to take. Now, this is what we do. We trade knights off. Now we have an undefended bishop here. We have an undefended pawn here. We have given up a pawn. We also have an isolated pawn on the e-file. And how can this be minus 2? Well, let's find out. You capture the pawn with your bishop. So now we are still a pawn down, by the way. White has pawns on D and F. We don't. We have a pawn on E. White doesn't. So it's horrendously imbalanced. But by bringing our bishop out here, we are hanging b7. Right? This looks completely wrong on every level. Most common move here is actually knight e2. So that's what we're going to see. Knight to e2. Because although we're hanging this pawn, so what's the threat? If the bishop comes here, we would play rook b8, hitting the bishop. I don't know. I'll have to explore that. Why are most people playing? Let's just flip the board. Why are most people playing knight to e2 here? I mean, we've got this common kind of attacking idea. I don't really see it, but there must be a good reason for this move. Threatening to come in here, takes. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of scary. Does look threatening, but I need to explore that. Okay, so most common move, knight e2. You pin the knight. They then retreat their bishop to defend the knight back on e2. Notice how many moves this bishop has taken as well. Right, so white is now well behind. For the sake of one pawn, they really are behind. Queen c5 now puts more pressure down this side, but also hits the bishop yet again. So now, again, white is going to have to play a move he doesn't really want to make. The most common move is c3. Right, this position has been seen 3 times at the 1800 plus level on Lichess. Every time they've thought, well, there's nothing, I can't put my bishop here, it gets taken by the pawn. Can't put it here, it gets taken by the queen. Can't stay there, it gets taken by the queen. Can't really defend it, we're going to have pawn takes and everything gets messed up. Can I defend it with this? I don't know. It tends not to be what they think. Actually, c3 is the best move, according to the computer. Anyway, c3, you take the bishop, give up the knight, and then after they recapture, long castles, and it is +3 here for black. Completely dominant. Look at white's development, or should we say lack of development. I think this is a very interesting one to go into, so let's just go over it again. Accepted, queen block, knight retreat here, very natural, and now the immediate, oh no, come in there, and now the immediate d5. d5. So I need to explore this one a bit more, but so we give up the pawn, we trade off, we regain the pawn, we apparently give up this one though as well. Let's have a quick look what happens if bishop comes down here. Okay, it's still not fantastic. We hit the bishop again. The bishop's now going to have to do something. Most common move here, bishop d5, and black wins 9 out, well, this position's been seen 10 times. 9 out of 10 games, and that's actually a mistake. No, that's actually a blunder. Why is it a blunder? Queen g5. What's the threat here? That hits the queen, threatens this. That hits the queen. So let's say they push c3 here, for example. Oh no, we just take on g2. Wow. Anyway, super aggressive line. So that's definitely worth looking into, because we've seen this quite a few times. Let me just check the Explorer in my own games. So it's my games with the black pieces. Flip the board. Let's go through the moves. Oop. Because I'm uploading, so it's there's a little bit of lag here. And Italian. There, if they take, you push. Queen blocks, knight retreats, knight out. Just guarding this. Now I think there is also the immediate d5 here. That gets into a very remarkable line. Okay, knight c3, the most common move, been played 29 times against me. And I have played d5 here 4 times and lost 3 of those games to white. Sorry, no. Forgive me. It is knight d4, queen d1. Now have I ever played d5? I have never played d5 here. I've done very well with c6, the slower variation. I've won 53% against 41. So that's like, you know, what's that, 9-8 or 10-7, probably 10-7. Never played this move. But I have had this position 17, 19, 20, 22 times. So this is worth further explanation. So Rousseau fans, that'll be a geekiness for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. See you soon.